YouTube Go in the Goat House is back. Today I got my cornerback rankings for the 2022 NFL Draft. I'm going to go through my top 15. A lot of these guys really close in grade. It's a good group. Top 6 guys could potentially go in the first round. After that, I think everyone's rankings will be different. Some sleepers out there. Excited to break it down. We got position rankings for all the position groups minus safeties. We'll do that next. Then we got a big board, mock drafts, and some more content leading up to the draft. And we'll have content throughout each day of the draft and after covering it as well. So join us, like, subscribe, turn notifications on. Follow us on Twitter, very important there. Link pinned in the comments for anything you're looking for. Let's take a look at the superlatives for the corner class. Day 1 impact. I'm going to go Ahmad Gardner from Cincinnati. Overall, because he's the best one, spoiler on who's number 1, I think he's equally effective in man and zone, probably a little better in man. I thought about Trent McDuffie here because he is, I think, the most well-rounded. I mean, you look at a guy that is an outside corner but kind of fits a play style of a dominant slot corner. I mean, you can line him up almost like a safety, kind of like what Washington did with Elijah Molden. But he's well-rounded, too, because he's equally effective in man and zone. It's tough to figure out which one he's better at. Probably zone a little bit. He can make tackles in the backfield, downfield. So McDuffie, I think, is pro-ready and very well-rounded. Most upside, got to go with Tariq Woolen from Texas San Antonio. I mean, just a lengthy, athletic freak. Only been at the position for a couple years, and he's pretty talented as it is. He has all the traits that you look for and some. So, I mean, there's incredible upside there, and that could be why he's a small school kid that could go in round 2. Best man coverage, definitely can go Ahmad Gardner. Could go Stingley. I give Stingley some love here. He's been mainly a man corner throughout his career at LSU. And he's been a very effective, sticky in coverage in that. Best zone, I'm going to go Andrew Booth Jr. I like his playmaking ability, his ability to read the quarterback in zone coverage, attack the ball, all of the above there. So I'll go Andrew Booth Jr. for zone. Best footwork, got to go Ahmad Gardner. Kind of goes at footwork, hips, movement, kind of all go together to me. I like Ahmad Gardner, very smooth. Press, Ahmad Gardner. Uses his length and press. This doesn't really let guys by him very easily, so very impressive. Playmaker, I'm going to go Boot Jr. He's such a good playmaker, attacking the ball, reading where it's going to go, jumping on the ball, making a play. Best slot, going to go Marcus Jones from Houston. He played actually more outside, but does have experience in the slot. I think he'd be a very good slot corner in the next level. He's a little undersized, so that makes sense as well. Most versatile, can go a number of guys. I'm going to go Cam Taylor-Britt from Nebraska because he used to be a safety, and he still kind of gives me those safety vibes. I like him equally effective at corner or safety. Most underrated, Alontae Taylor from Tennessee. I'm a big fan. I was talking about on Twitter a little bit ago. Big fan of Alontae Taylor. I haven't really heard anything about him, and that's just a little confusing because I think he's legit, and we'll talk about him a little bit more. Sleeper, I'm going to go with Michigan corner Vincent Gray. Not getting talked about at all. Could be a late round pick, probably because his lack of production on the ball, but he's got the size, the length. I like how he fires up and attacks the ball on the ground, when it's in someone's hands. So, I hit on Ambry Thomas last year too, so we'll give a Michigan corner some love here, even though he's not quite Ambry Thomas. But to the rankings, going to go Ahmad Gardner 1, kind of borderline elite player. It's kind of rare for me to give out elite grades to corners, not named Jalen Ramsey as prospects. That's kind of just me. But the coverage skills are elite. It's a coverage era, obviously, with it being a passing era, and the movement is next level. The hips, the footwork, the change in direction, the press ability, and not allowing anyone by him. I mean, he confuses receivers, by where do I go? He's going to get a hand on me no matter where I go here because he's so lengthy and he's, squared up and he's got the movement skills. So very impressive in that category. Better in man, but I do like him man and zone. He's equally effective in either or. I do like him cover 2, though, so I guess I shouldn't say that. I think typically the guys that are good in man could run cover 2 properly. To almost disguise it as man coverage. And that's where he's going to make his money here. If there's a team that wants to run some cover 2, throw off some quarterbacks. So he's really going to fit every single team. He has the athleticism, the length that you look for, the good experience, playmaking ability, consistent in all years. So this is a top tier corner here, one that we do not see every year. Why pass on him maybe? He does whiff on some tackles. I think it's a combination of coming in full speed or standing too tall and almost kind of has his arms out wide and ends up looking like an arm tackle attempt. He has a very thin frame. Really doesn't show. It shows maybe a little bit the tackling sometimes, or I guess getting off solid blocks sometimes. Doesn't really show in the press ability though, which everybody will value that over anything. Number 2, I'm going to go Derek Stingley Jr. Maybe a risky prospect to take in the top 10, even though he does feel like a top 10 talent. He's got the ideal traits. You look at the length, the athleticism. He's a elite man coverage corner. More so effective in man than zone. I guess that's where, is that a negative? You want to bring the guys in that are already polished in man. You don't want to have to teach man chasing guys, press ability. You don't have to teach those things coming all the way up to the NFL level. But the downside is a lot of NFL teams do run zone. The best defenses really change it up. They're not only in man. They're not only in one specific type of zone or two. They really change it up. So could get better in terms of zone, but look like an elite prospect as a freshman. I'm a believer that talent doesn't really disappear. Always tight in coverage, great athlete, uses his length very well as well. Slight decline after 2019. Still was a very good player, but didn't look like that elite player. And that does make you wonder a little bit, what's going on. There was an elite LSU team back in 2019. So there's a couple players that kind of dropped down since then. Only 10 games the last 2 seasons, so I don't love that. So you could see, and that goes because of injury as well. But you can see there's a little bit of a risk there if you're taking him super high. Like maybe it's a boom or bust type guy here because, which Derek Stingley you're going to get. Probably a team that's going to run a lot of man coverage, probably going to have to take him. So we'll see. But a lot of people do have him at 1, and I could see that. Go back and watch that freshman tape and love the idea of him. Number 3, 3 and 4, very close to me. I'm going to go Trent McDuffie 3, like we talked about at the beginning of this video with the superlatives. He's probably the most well-rounded, kind of versatile when it comes to scheme. And I think where he can play, too, because he's mainly an outside corner. That's where I like him. But I think you play in a slot. I think you can line him up kind of like kind of that slot box safety type if you wanted to. But very instinctive, knows how to read the quarterback and leave his zone if he has to and make a play on the ball. And he's very good at attacking the ball. Flies to the ball. Impressive tackler, too. Seems like a sure tackler. Wrap up, make a play, see it in the backfield, see it downfield. But again, equally effective across the board, man and zone. So it's not like he has to come in. You have to teach him one or the other because, again, the best NFL defenses, they really mix up their coverages there. So that's why he feels like a pro-ready guy. Slightly undersized frame because he's kind of built, just a little undersized frame, but is lacking the length. Everyone loves those super lengthy corners. He's not the super lengthy guy. And could improve his press ability, even though he's good in man. Doesn't really get a lot of contact on guys. Doesn't really let guys get by him completely. But the main reason he's 3, and like I said, 3 and 4 were very close, is because, again, he's just so polished, equally effective man zone, kind of pro-ready. 4, Andrew Booth Jr., he does have that wow potential, those wow moments, those playmaking moments. I think he's a very instinctive playmaker in zone coverage. He does have ability at pressing, whether it's man or zone, and man. He has that experience, so that you like that as well. Explosive athlete, I think it really shows, again, when attacking the ball. When he makes a right read on the ball, he flies up and makes a play or makes a very athletic play, diving or wherever it may be, or attacking the ball at its highest point. So the ball skills are incredible for Andrew Booth Jr. Like, these are things that almost say cornerback 1, and it shows how good the cornerback class is. I think he's better zone than man. I've seen, credible drafts. People around the draft world say they like him more in man, and they think he'll go to kind of a more of a man team. I'm going to disagree with that. I think he's better in zone, in my opinion. At man, I think he's solid in man, but I think when I watch him, I see him allowing kind of the inside leverage a bit, which kind of ends up chasing guys across the field. He has athletic ability to make up, but kind of going to the NFL, where he really stands out, again, is just reading the quarterback, kind of near the sideline, and making a play on the ball, and that's zone coverage. I like it. Cover 3, cover 4, keep him kind of near that sideline and in his zone there, and let him go to work, let him read the quarterback. So, it's kind of that wow type playmaker too. So I definitely think he's and he's kind of been talked about during his process as a borderline first-round player. After watching more of him, I definitely think he's should be a lock as a first-round pick. And now 5 and 6 are very, very close to me for me, just like 3 and 4 were. 5, I'm going to go Kaiir Elam from Florida, and really the upsize and kind of he's got that size. I mean, he looks bigger than 6'1", too, but he has the length that kind of makes sense why. But he's got the size, the traits, the freaky athletic ability, and he's got good play under him. I watched him as a true freshman, and I liked him right off the bat. I knew this guy was going to be special in the future, so kind of hanging on to that a little bit as well. But, yeah, just a combination of everything. You see the upside, maybe one of the more bigger upside corners in the draft. I like his press ability, too. I kind of like him because he can run man and zone, but I like him kind of press zone. Which we saw the Bengals do quite a bit last year, which was very effective for them. So I like that, be able to throw teams off, quarterbacks off to, are they about to be a man, disguise a little bit. Has that long speed, obviously, on the outside that kind of shows up. So he had some good play throughout his career. Definitely gets too physical, too grabby. He'll get the penalties. I think that'll kind of continue. That's a tough part. Do you want to bring it because you draft him in the first round, you want him to start, obviously. You're going to be getting these penalties. Our team's going to try to expose that. So it might be tough early on, but you do love the upside here. And he definitely can come up and hit. Sometimes he kind of just flies up and uses his body. Would prefer him, obviously, to be wrap up a little better, make the sure tackle, but it's not really a major concern. And then on to the next group of guys here. I did say 5 and 6 are really close. Gardner I like at the end of the first round as well. I think Kaiir Elam, his size and maybe the upside there, a lot to work with. Maybe what splits them up. I think Gordon's probably going to be better day one. I like these effective zone and man. Another press zone kind of feeling guy. He tacks the ball well, really flies up, but he will whiff on some tackles. And he doesn't have that, that elite size. Not that he's really lacking size. I like he doesn't got crazy length, but I like it compared to his height, more length than expected. I'm a big fan of Lante Taylor. I don't think anyone's going to be on as high as him as me. A big fan of his game. I just kind of like everything combined here. The size, whether it comes to the frame, the build, the length. He has that physicality too. Can fly out, make a hit. And he's an incredible athlete too. I like the playmaking ability. He has a playmaking upside, the way he attacks the ball. Pretty, quick feet, good footwork, good movement. Another guy that can hit, but sometimes just goes for full power, which he can kind of settle down and wrap up a little better. But I'm just really surprised why he's not getting more buzz. I'm a little confused about that because I see a guy that, I got him right after the top, like the clear-cut top 6 guys. The number 8, I'm going to go Cam Taylor-Britt from Nebraska. Corner and safety. I actually watched him at corner this past year first before going back and watching later years. And watching him at corner, I'm like, this guy is a very good corner, but he kind of gives me safety vibes at the same time. Then I realized he actually played safety in the past, so that actually made sense. Made me feel pretty good about what I was seeing. But I like him at either. I really thought about ranking him as a safety because some teams may. But I like the upside at corner because he switched to corner. He played corner the last 2 years. He played more strong safety the 3 years ago. But I like the upside here at the cornerback position. Seems pretty instinctive, knows how to read the quarterback, leave his zone if he has to. I like his athletic ability too. He showed at the combine. Could improve the technique. He's pretty much just all, let me use my athletic ability and instincts, which you do love that part. And he may end up in safety, which really isn't a negative, but, could end up ranking him with the safeties eventually. It's possible. Tariq Woolen next, kind of the upside guy from UTSA. Freaky size, athleticism, type of guy that everyone wants to work with. Loads of upside there. He's got good play too, physical. Kind of got better as the year went on too. He's kind of saw moments where he would feel comfortable leaving his zone and jumping the ball, making a play on the ball, trying to keep his eyes on the quarterback a little more. So you already see that crazy upside developing throughout the end of the year there. But definitely raw, new to the position, that kind of shows up sometimes. He kind of looks like a man coverage corner, but not really is yet. If he's up there pressing, which he can press because he's strong and he's got the length, but when he's matched up against kind of a quickie, a quicker, shifty, good footwork receiver, he ends up not getting a hand on him because he's just too much for him. So I kind of like him more, maybe cover 2, where he can kind of eventually implement some of that and those man looks, the press ability, but he could go in round 2 there with his upside. But definitely a fun prospect. And Roger McCreary is next, which is a tough one too because he had a really good year for Auburn there. I really like the stickiness, the sticky ability in man coverage. He's pretty physical at the line despite lacking the length. And he's very productive in the SEC. You see him shut down some Bama receivers and some good receivers at times. So that's what you love about McCreary. But yeah, maybe he limited the man coverage. Don't really feel great about him in zone. There's some times where he does end up chasing a guy, which will happen if you're in man that much. There was some cover 3 out there for Auburn, though, but ends up chasing some guys. And, again, lacking that length because the best corners in the NFL have the length, and he's really lacking that length. So I think he'll go a little later than people think. With his play, people may think, based on his play, it might say second at the worst, but I think he'll actually drop a little further because it depends on the team. I guess there could be a man coverage team that steps up and takes him, but lacking that length there. Could a team want to try to put him in the slot because he's lacking that length, but he has that stickiness? It's a possibility as well. So he's definitely a tricky one there. And I did rank 15 here. So next, Zion McCollum, who's a big-time upside guy from Sam Houston State, just a freaky athlete. I like his instincts. It's another one of those guys that, has athletic ability, has the instincts. He's kind of got to work on his technique a little bit, movement, press ability, body control for sure. Didn't play the best competition, so it's a little tough to tell and don't get the most tape from him. So it is a little tough to tell, but you love the freakiness. You love the upside here. Kobe Bryant from Cincinnati is next. Like the man coverage experience, won't have to teach that man. He's got the great experience. He's got the playmaking ability. He's constantly always made plays. Ahmad Gardner was kind of lockdown guys. They were trying to throw on Bryant's side, and he made plays throughout his career. Not super lengthy. You wish there was more length to him. Obviously, he's not really lacking a whole bunch in that category. Definitely better man than zone. There's more zone coverage used in the NFL than in college. Marcus Jones will be next. Tough to rank whether we rank this, who I view as a slot guy. I always release my spreadsheet with the rankings right before the draft for everybody to have. I tweet out the link. I'll have a section for the slot guys as well. Marcus Jones will be at the top of that list. I think he played more outside, but he's so undersized that they're going to have to put him in the slot, but he's a big-time playmaker. He's always attacking the ball very well. He plays bigger than what his size is, so we'll see. But I think teams are going to look at him, just how the NFL goes sometimes. They look at him like, all right, we're going to play him in the slot. Martin Emerson next from Mississippi State, number 14. A lot of wow moments, very lengthy, and he uses that, flying up at the ball, shows the wow moments. Kind of like him as a press zone type guy, which is great. Very thin frame, ends up chasing at times. Yeah, kind of inconsistent as well because you kind of have the flashy moments and then the moments. And there's a lot of guys that are really close, to being in the top 15 here. A load of guys. I went with Damari Mathis, kind of another upside guy from Pittsburgh, who had a pretty good year as well. But he's a freak athlete, tested extremely well across the board. We look at the combine and the pro day. Smooth footwork too. Sometimes he's got to open up his hips. He opens up his hips a little too late. Got to do it earlier. But I like the upside there with the athletic ability and kind of already shown improvements. Below average frame, nothing really to worry about. He's had penalties, quite a bit of penalties, and a couple injuries in his past though. But there is kind of a lot of wow ability here with his upside. There's a lot of other solid guys as well. It's a very, very good cornerback group here. Again, some guys that I might be higher on than some others as well. So we got the safeties next. Then we got, what other videos we got to get to? We got to get to my guys. We got to get to the big board. We got to get to another mock or two. And there's a couple other videos I want to get to. And then we will grade night one of the NFL draft. We'll be live during night one of the draft. And we'll grade all the first round picks after that. We'll have a day 2 mock before day 2 starts. We'll have winners and losers for day 2 and 3. Then we got undrafted free agents video. And then recapping the whole draft. So we got you covered here. Like, subscribe, turn notifications on. Follow our Twitter link down below. It's going to do it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.